And here we go. TV's on. Thank you. I don't like any competition. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, how's everybody doing? We've been having some technical difficulties, so we're here on a Friday.
Yes.
And we're very happy about that.
I know I
am. It's been a while. It has been a while. How's everybody doing? Okay, tomorrow is Pearl Pinson's 18th birthday. So, Pearl's been missing for 2 years. She was almost 16 when she was taken. Tomorrow is her 18th birthday. So, we're going to I just found out Pearl Pinson would give out food to people on her birthday. So, we're going to be doing that tomorrow. Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna try and talk into this little thing right here. See?
She has on the wrong shirt, y'all. I don't know why. I didn't know she was coming in a dress.
Well, how did
I know you didn't know. You weren't supposed to know.
How am I supposed to know, man?
That.
Yeah.
But it's working though. It's working.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's working. So
Yeah. Well, I see. That's why I keep saying we had, eventually when we get our green screen, I also want to have a makeup artist, and we can just get a little fashion consult too. I mean, This is TV.
Right.
Everybody, it is. So, wow. Okay, so what is going on in the world?
What's going on in the world? What is going on
in the world? The world's a busy place.
Yes.
Yep. Michael Cohen, the president's lawyer, is going to jail.
Yeah, he just is turned big time telling. He's
sure
telling on
is.
everything.
He sure is, man. Shit. With friends like Michael Cohen, who needs enemies?
Right, now tell me this: do you think he's telling the truth, or do you think he's just trying to get out of whatever he's in?
Oh no, I think he's trying to get out of whatever he's in by telling the truth.
I like how you said that. That's a good way of putting it. That's true. That's how you put it. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, any smart prosecutor or whatever is going to be doing that. I mean, they want the big fish. But I'm like, yeah, good, man. Throw his ass in jail. I'm sick of these fucking people thinking they can do whatever they want. Yeah. Okay, so speaking of jail, there was an article in the New York Times about, remember 2 years ago there was the ghost ship tragedy, 36 people died, and and 2 people have gone to jail, the guy that was sort of managing the place and the guy that worked for him.
Right.
But they plea bargained together, so they got the same sentence, even though one of them was way more culpable than the other. So, the other guy was following orders and he was totally negligent too, but it wasn't, the big, and that guy, his name's Harris, has also expressed remorse. The big dude hasn't, but they did a article in the New York Times Magazine with this artsy sort of picture of him on the front page, talking about how he prays and he reads the Bible and the Quran, and when he was and he saved a dragonfly from the other prisoners and made it into a pet. All that. And I'm just like, funny. Yeah, I'm like, am I supposed to feel sorry for this guy? I mean, I can tell he feels bad for what he did, as he should. But I think there's people that I think deserve to be in jail a lot less than him, who are in jail.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe the New York Times is trying to get a different angle or something, but I don't agree with that. So, okay. We're gonna go right now to Yemen, which is the location of the world's worst humanitarian crisis. There's been a civil war going on, and the ruling party is backed by Saudi Arabia. And so because of that, the United States has stepped on in to help out. And okay, guys, this was Obama. Okay, Obama got us into it. Okay, and like Trump's happy to keep it going, but it's one of the things that I think people need to look at is, okay, Obama and foreign policy. Okay, like put it where it's supposed to be, and the rebels are backed by Iran and Hezbollah, which so the U.S. doesn't, so that's why the U.S. has backed the government besides our great friends Saudi Arabia. So we have discussed Jamal Khashoggi a couple times over the past few months, and he was the Saudi Arabian journalist who wrote for the Washington Post and was killed in the Saudi Arabian embassy in Turkey. He entered the embassy and never came back out. They didn't even just kill him; they tortured him to death. And it was Trump said, everybody in the U.S., the CIA, the CIA says Saudi Arabia is responsible, but Trump doesn't believe that because he doesn't. Because like, okay, why trust the CIA when you got your own dumb ideas? But anyway, what is happening right now in Congress is that after 4 years of war, they are now trying to stop. They're now making a referendum to try to get to stop the U.S. from being involved in the Yemen war, sponsored by my favorite person, Burn Dog. Okay, now can you catch the sarcasm here? I despise that man, and you could have. And he, incidentally, Burn Dog has an A+ rating from the NRA. Okay, like how can people still like this man? And so I think because of Khashoggi, the United States the Senate is now deciding to try and do something about Yemen, and I say about bloody time. And what is also happening in Yemen is, in Sweden, is the warring parties met and agreed on a ceasefire. And they agreed that the airport and the port, Hodeida, are to be run by the UN. And that's a really big deal because the food aid is being sent, but they can't get it in because the port is, because the port is closed. And it's just, People are starving to death. It's the worst famine like ever. So, it's really terrible. And as I was reading about this and preparing for tonight, I just read that there is still like gunfire and stuff going on in Yemen. So, I know this is the sort of thing where I keep talking about it, and it's kind of the same thing. We say that there's been some peace, and then the shooting starts up again. And I mean, it's not me just repeating myself; it's the world repeating itself. Hey, James, we're saying again. Tomorrow is the 18th birthday for Pearl Pinson, and we're going to be serving food to homeless people tomorrow in honor of Pearl Pinson's 18th birthday. So,
where will you be serving food at?
It's on Sonoma Boulevard. Up where. Okay, well I'll post it later because I know where it's. it's where like a bunch of places used to be that aren't there. It's where like Rayleigh's used to be, and places that aren't there anymore.
So it's over there where 24-hour fitness is.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So that's
round table. 24-hour fitness.
Yeah.
Like a little old, or I don't know how much. Are those the only 2 places over there now?
I think there's a Jack in the Box.
Oh wow, jeez.
Yeah.
They tore that thing apart, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's like, ooh man. Okay.
Yeah. Like one of the things that, you know, like, okay, can we like make some of these places into affordable housing or something? It's just empty lots.
Right.
Crazy. It's just crazy. Okay. So we are now moving over to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and there's been some interesting things going on there. We're gonna start with in Brussels. The previously the Royal Africa Museum reopens after a 6-year renovation with an attempt to bury its reputation as the last bastion of colonial propaganda, which means they're trying to, I mean, it's an issue that we like to talk about with museums. It's like, okay, museums have lots of like old stuff and artifacts there that are plundered from someplace else, and how do countries try and be honest and say how they got this stuff? Right. At one point in this museum, they actually had people in there on exhibit, Congolese people in there for exhibit. So last June, a square in the Belgian capital was named after Patrice Lumumba, who was the first president when DR Congo became independent, and shortly after was killed by the Belgians. And so the president, the current president of DR Congo is Joseph Kabila, and we've talked about him before, and he's asking for artifacts back, which they kind of like what's happening in a lot of countries. And you know, again, as we've said before, that's my favorite part about Black Panthers when they take the Wakandan stuff out of the museum. I think that should happen everywhere. So while Mr. Kabila is trying to get back the stuff that was stolen from his country, the Congolese elections are still happening, and these hopefully the elections were supposed to happen 2 years ago, and Kabila prevented them. And if these elections, Kabila has been in office since 2001 after the assassination of his father, Laurent Kabila. And and the opposition candidate that's running against him, Felix Tshisekedi, is the son of the prior opposition candidate. Like, man, are we kind of seeing a little theme here? But shit, it's not like kind of like our country too, man. People, it's so hard. People just cling to power very, very hard. But so we have two opposition people, Felix Tshisekedi and Vital Kamerhe, and so we have so they're the opposition, and they're running against. Well, there's actually like 21 people running, but other people. Altogether, there's 21 candidates, but we're talking about the two guys that have a chance. And They are running against Kabila's chosen successor, who was the former Interior Minister, and he has been sanctioned by the EU, by the European Union, for crimes against humanity. Yeah. So, okay, and a big issue that's been happening is voting machines, because the ruling candidates brought in the voting machines, and people don't trust them. Elections have always been by hand, and part of the reason is that only 9% of the country has electricity. So it seems to me, and I think to other people, that having electric voting machines might not be the greatest idea. But now a fire was set and thousands of the voting machines have been burned. And it's believed that the ruling party did that to try and make things even more difficult. And DR Congo is also still struggling with Ebola, and there were and other rebel groups. The election is supposed to happen on December 23rd, and so we don't have another show before that. I don't think. No. Well, we can talk about it on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
So yeah. So we're all going to be just like watching really closely, and just sending good wishes and prayers to the Democratic Republic of Congo. And yeah. Oh, okay. The other thing is, okay, so Kabila said that he's going to step down, but he hasn't said that he won't run again. So theoretically, I mean, he may run again in 2 years, but I guess we can worry about that in 2 years.
Right, 2 years. Well,
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, and okay. Meanwhile, okay, so moving over to the Horn of Africa, we've been talking about that area, which is Ethiopia and Eritrea. Ethiopia just had a massive bike to work day where everybody was supposed to ride bicycles, and that went pretty well. As we've talked about, Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who is fucking awesome, and half of his cabinet is made up of women. Man. Okay. And the president is a woman. And okay, one of the conversations that I saw recently was about that song, do they know it's Christmas? Mm-hmm. Okay, otherwise known as they fucking know it's Christmas, because they're not fucking stupid. So it's just like the
Anna's getting into it. Yeah.
It was just like the utmost of colonialist bullshit. It was from Live Aid, and it was kind of like one of the beginnings of celebrities trying to take on the face of complex problems and acting like they could solve the problems, when the fact is people within the countries can solve their own problems. They should be supported. Nobody should be barging in and doing that. And yeah, so that discussion came up, and so I was like, okay, well, meanwhile, wait, there's some. Okay, this was in Abuja. I mean, meanwhile, Ethiopia is kicking ass. I think it's about one of the coolest places in the world. They just discovered mass graves of about 600 people in the eastern part of Ethiopia, and that's where there were problems with that whole area with the people related to Al-Shabaab and the Oromo. But so anyway, that's where a lot of human rights abuses took place, and that is being looked at. Okay, and so that part of the world is Somalia is right there, and the U.S. has just established its first diplomatic presence in Somalia for nearly 30 years. So, well, you know, I don't know. See, there's stuff that happens. The State Department said the historic event reflected the progress the East African nation has made, and it probably and I think it reflects the what would you say our country's doing? What's the word for going backward? Or something. And
I don't know what you would call this. Man.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a very good question.
What we're doing is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You heard about the whole China thing too, and all the stuff that's going on with the whole little trade stuff.
Yeah.
Well, even on Fox News, they're starting to say, it's not on Fox now, but I was watching Fox before you came.
Hey, those are my friends, man.
Oh,
some of them, yeah. But okay, what were the?
But usually they try to beat around the bush with Trump.
Well, some do, some don't. See that I'm just saying
they didn't today.
Well, yeah, because they have some good. They do have some good reporters. So yeah, what did they?
Right.
They're talking.
Well, they were just trying to say Trump. They were trying to say that by Trump putting up the tariffs and doing all that stuff against China, that it's starting to make China their trade is starting. They're starting to lose money. Yeah. But at the same time, we're losing money. Yeah. So it's kind of more like the situation where you stab me, I stab you. We're gonna keep stabbing each other until someone dies. Type. That's what, yeah. But in Trump's mind, he's doing something. He thinks he's gonna. It's kind of like playing chicken. He thinks he's gonna get China to be like, okay. Yeah. But at the same time, we're losing too because we're losing money. When they're losing money, they said a lot of people losing jobs and crops are going bad because they were giving a lot to China. Now China's not buying it from them, and you know it's kind of like a vice versa. But in his mind, he's thinking that, okay, China's going to eventually give up. You know, they're going to do what we want them to do. But they had an analyst. They had a guy who was like a trades guru from Cal or something. Yes. He was trying to say that what Trump is doing isn't really going to work. He said why not make it worse? He said, yeah, we may be making China lose money, but we're losing money too. So it's kind of like...
Well, the other thing that happened, I mean, China makes a lot, is trying to like settle and make as much money as possible in Africa, along with Russia. Yeah. So yeah. So our great buddies, China and Russia, I think they're also pretty much like, okay, we'll forget the U.S.
And I was going to say that. Yeah. That's exactly what the guy from China said.
Exactly.
But they said they're trying to say on Fox that he's bluffing, but I don't think he's bluffing. What you exactly said is what he said.
He's not bluffing. It's true. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But they tried to make, he's bluffing. He's just trying to say it because, you know, they don't want to look bad, so they're trying to say it. But you just said exactly what he said. He said, well, you know, if it's not the U.S., we'll start making trades with other countries that we never did before, and yada yada yada. And it's like, man, Trump better. I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. Maybe that's why the United States has restored. It has a diplomatic presence in Somalia now. But see, that's the thing. Everybody else is like working together. Okay, one of the things we've talked about. Ethiopia. See, this was the I'm just going to repeat it for some of my friends because this was the all-time classic radio thing. When I was talking about Eritrea and how Eritrea is a tiny little country that didn't have relationships with any other parts of the world, and you said like Wakanda. Ever since then, I crack up, but. Eritrea has been, as we know, they finally did establish relationships again with Ethiopia thanks to Mr. Awesome Abiy Ahmed. I love him, man. So so they have opened up a little bit in Eritrea, where it's gotten a little better. I'm not sure yet how well they're doing with any freedom of the press, and we're going to talk later about, and one of the reasons a lot of people fled from Eritrea was because of compulsory indefinite military service. And last I checked, they had claimed to not have that anymore. They'd claimed that the military service was just going to be 2 years. So, they're getting somewhere. See, it's a trip because Abiy Ahmed. I mean, he's a new generation. He's like in his 40s, and Isaias Afwerki, the president of Eritrea, is old enough to be his father. So, it would be pretty awesome so we'll see if Eritrea gets another leader. But meanwhile, he traveled to Mogadishu for talks with Somali leaders as they rebuild diplomatic relations. And the two nations agreed to restore ties, ending 15 years of hostilities.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think the Horn of Africa is doing good.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Interestingly. And okay. Oh man. Okay. Meanwhile, in Liberia, people are stealing about 60% of the electricity generated in Liberia annually by making illegal connections to their homes and businesses. So that's one reason the country's broke, because the state-owned power utility. And what people say is they don't mind paying for it, but it doesn't work. Can you relate to that? Yes.
I can.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, I can. There's other stuff, I don't mind paying for stuff if it works. But when it doesn't work, what are you going to do? So, okay. Yeah, seriously, tariffs and all that, that's something I just don't know much about. Actually, last time I called into Fox, we were talking about, it was to talk about bullying.
Yes.
Yeah, because there was a story they were talking about a story about a 10-year-old girl that was kicked off the school bus for bullying. So her father made her walk to school like 5 miles, and he drove along beside her so he would be safe, so she'd be safe, and filmed it and put it on Facebook.
I don't know about filming it, but I'm glad. That's a good thing to do.
No, it's not, because so this was my point too. What you're learning, what she learns is that somebody that's bigger and stronger than you can make you do whatever they want.
Well, you gotta look at it in 2 different ways, though. She was around bullying people. She has to be punished somehow, and I think walking 5 miles is not.
But kids need to learn. Okay?
So what would you do?
Bullies are being bullied. Okay, so you needed to find out. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, her dad sounds like a big bully. But when kids act like that, when they hit and act out, it's because somebody's doing it to them.
Not always.
Almost always.
Not always.
Almost always. Come on, man.
Not
How many
always.
abusive people do you know that were abused when they were kids?
Some of them may have been abused, but some kids nowadays are brats. They're just brats.
There's always been brats.
When I was kids, I knew kids that were bullies, and they had good families. They weren't bullies.
How do you
They
know?
just came to, because I know, you could tell. You just knew. They just came to school, and they just thought it was a thing to do.
You need to teach. I think that you need to teach good behavior. Good behavior.
Walking.
Yeah,
Okay,
but she's not. But the thing is, you need to. A lot of the time, kids they need to learn social skills. We aren't born knowing social skills. And so what I would do in that setup, I'd have them I would find out whether the kid was upset about something, was something going on with her. Like, okay, well, find out why are you so angry? What's going on? And then figure out, like, okay, do you know how to talk to other kids? Do you know how to play with other kids? I mean, we aren't born. I mean, it's the same thing as teaching your kids to say please and thank you. They also need to be taught to get along with other people. And seriously, you know what? I think it's an even bigger problem now, because you have so many kids that are like, you take them to the playground, you have a whole lot of kids that are like sitting there like playing on their little like their little like phones or whatever, and so they don't learn social skills. So yeah, that's what I would do. I'd have the kid like do something nice for the other kid, like, okay, write an apology, and like bake something for the other kid. And you know what you do is you need to like supervise. One of the really great things about sports, about kids doing sports, is that it's a way for them to socialize with some structure. And so yeah, I'd put the kid in like a team, in some team, so that way she's still interacting with other kids. So yeah, that's what I would do, and I think shaming is terrible, and for the rest of her life, people are, that's fuck. Come on, think about it. For the rest of her life, she's gonna go to college or whatever, and oh yeah, that was you on Facebook. Yeah, so that's fucked up. Being shamed, nobody acts better because you're shamed. It just makes them.
I don't know about that one. I don't think that's a bad shame. I think it looks like that now, but I think when she gets older, that's not a bad shame.
Yeah, but you don't.
I hate it more when the parents cut their hair. That's kind of.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's the bad one. I've seen people, you're bullying, so we're gonna cut your hair.
Well, that's terrible, because that just means like, okay, yeah. I'm bigger and stronger than you, so I'm gonna.
Well, there's people who do that. That to me is worse than having your kid walk 5 miles because she was bullying someone on the bus. I mean. So then she gets to school, and she's like mad and upset and embarrassed, and so it's real. How's she gonna how are you gonna have a good day at school like that? Okay, how's she gonna do her lessons? You gotta learn that the kid that you bullied didn't have a good day because you bullied them.
Yeah, but
you at least was lucky. You got to walk by yourself with your dad. This little kid came to school terrorized every day because of you.
Well, well, for one thing, I feel like you need to have proper supervision, okay? And so you need to have an adult get in there, and you try and we aren't born knowing how to empathize people. So it would be the real question would be get down and say look, hey, do you see that so and so is sad? Do you get sad? How would you try and teach empathy? Okay, how do you feel when somebody treats you that way?
True. I can see that part of it. I'm pretty sure her dad said that too.
No, he didn't.
How do you know?
Because his whole thing was obviously to punish and
you when you get in trouble, if she beat up the kid and the cops was there.
Cops weren't there for a 10-year-old girl.
She's 10 years old now, but if she got away with, let's just say she kept doing it in the real world, if she would have beat somebody up, she would be going to jail.
It just the thing about particularly. For me, having worked a lot with kids that were disturbed and had, if you keep punishing a kid, they kind of just tune it out. It's then it's not going to make it doesn't make as much difference.
When I got in trouble, I didn't tune it out. I never tuned
Well,
it
yeah,
out.
but your parents weren't abusive, were they?
No, but I got in trouble. If I did something bad, I got in trouble.
Well, yeah, but your parent, but I mean,
I don't think a 5-mile walk is abusive.
well, he just sounds like. I mean, it just sounds to me. It's just like I think it's overkill. I think
As a kid, I used to get whoopings.
Yeah, but
That's
not
more
like.
overkill than I mean.
Did you get? How often did you get whoopings?
Not often, because when I got my first couple of whoopings, I knew better to act better.
Well, there you go. I mean,
that's what's going to happen with her. When she has to walk 5 miles a couple of times, she'll change her tune.
But, I still think that the problem is you need to learn social skills. I think that, like,
you do.
I don't think that one of the, I mean, you want to teach a punishment, like another thing, and it's kind of like somewhat semantic, but one of the things where I used to work at was, okay, you talk about consequences. Okay, you talk about getting consequences,
right,
not punishment.
And consequences of what you do, right?
Yeah. Well, like one thing, the consequences, there's ways that you create your own consequences, okay? Because it could be pointed out to her, like, okay, hey, are you lonely? Are you not having? Okay, the consequence of your actions are that other kids don't want to play with you. So does that make you sad and
What if
lonely?
she doesn't care about that? What if her thing is she just likes to bully? As long as she controls it, she doesn't care. If she's threatening these kids and she can make them do what she wants.
I simply don't believe that 10-year-olds aren't that complicated.
They're not, but you still got to look at the kids nowadays. It's not like our generation of kids. Our generation of kids is easy. These kids
No,
are
it's
not
not.
the same.
There's no difference.
Okay.
Oh, come on. You're just saying that because they're an
A
adult now.
lot of kids shooting each other. When did that happen when we was kids? Tell me how many people got shot up when we was kids. How much did you see that on the news? Tell me. I'll wait.
I didn't watch. I didn't watch
Okay,
watch the news
well,
when I was
you didn't hear it. You didn't hear it
a
because it never
kid.
happens.
Well, we didn't have as much. Well, we didn't have social media. We didn't. Not as much stuff. We didn't have everybody like. Oh, come on. We didn't have everybody like. Look at police brutality, okay? I mean, that's always happened, but now, we have people like doing their cell phones and kids like beating each other up. I mean, but seriously,
bullies, but most of the time, people at one point in life, you mess with me, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah.
And you usually get with the bully. What happened? You guys become friends later on,
and that happens too, which is another reason. I think part of the problem is that adults are way too involved in stuff, actually. But I mean, I just feel like unless I know that this 10-year-old and I do think that it's a real problem with kids not learning social skills because they're playing with like their little things, and that's a problem. That's something I really see as a big problem. But unless I know that this kid, I know that she knows, like, okay, does she know how? Is she able to say, would you like to play with me? Or whatever. Is she able to make friends? I mean, I was a shy little kid, okay?
Right.
I was just like, I would like hide, basically. And, so, somebody should help me, like, learn to be less shy or something. But, so that's
I don't think it turned out that bad. You're not shy now.
No, but... No, I'm just saying for example.
You're not shy now.
And it's good. Okay, and it's good that like I'm not. I mean, when I was a kid, nobody gave a shit about bullying. You're still hearing like, oh yeah, people do that because you're pretty. That's what people. I'm real glad that people don't say stuff like that anymore. So. I mean, it is good bullying, or else people would say like, "Oh, ignore them," and
And then like, okay, so what do you think about like those shows they have where they take the kids to the prison, and they have them walk through to meet the inmates and all that stuff? Do you think that's a little too much?
Well, well, it's a TV show. No, I think that could be good.
It's true. They do it. They do it at the prison I'm at. They
Yeah.
do the same scared straight. They have little kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, they do the same
Oh
thing.
shit! I'd be trying that with my my little
But
brother
see,
would
but
be.
see,
Yeah.
isn't that another? That's another form of
I know,
punishment for
'cause
being a bully.
I think that's educational. See, I consider that education.
But a
That's
walk,
not a
isn't
punishment.
it? When the prisoners tell the kids to do push-ups and stuff, that's different.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't send a 10-year-old through a prison.
They have 10-year-olds there too.
They
Like,
have
if they're really bad.
10-year-olds through
Some of these
prisons?
kids, if you see how these kids are like smoking weed and stealing cars at 10 years old.
Well, you need to look at where are they learning this behavior. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean that's a 10-year-old doing stuff like that. That kid should. I mean, yeah, you need to look at like who's teaching that. You know,
Okay, so let's look past that.
If a 10-year-old
They don't have the best upbringing. Let's just say that. Let's just say someone finally does come through and do care and says, okay, I'm going to send you to Scared Straight. Send them to Scared Straight. You know, the prisoners, you know, sometimes they're there for 2 or 3 days. Prisoners tell them, you know, hey, they don't stay in the prison.
I would not send. I don't know, man. I mean, for
And then they send them there, and the prisoners are like, you know, they scare them, you know, do push-ups. You know, I want you to do push-ups. I want you to eat that apple. You know, make them do stuff that would happen if you went to prison.
how old are the kids that come into the prison where you were?
I don't know their age. I haven't checked that
Like
one out.
sit. I don't know.
But I know
like,
the one on TV I see, they've been like 10 years old. It just depends.
don't trust.
But,
Well, that's TV. That's entertainment.
but
I mean, it
still,
would just
they
depend.
do it. They've been doing that. They've been doing that show was out since the 80s, and it was real back then. They were doing it the same way. It was the same little kids. The only thing is a little different
I would
now.
not do it with that. I really feel with like little kid, you know, with like a 10-year-old or something. You know, you want to look at like, okay, are they bored? Is this kid, you know, okay, what about like, okay, are they acting out? Like, I think part of it is like, okay, if your kid is like been sitting there like playing video games for a couple hours, they have like too much energy or something. Like, yeah, for like a kid, like for like younger kids like that too, I'd want to like put, you know, okay, hey, they should be in like a foot, you know, wait, are they like playing sports? Are they doing any, that would be a real concern. And, you know, trying to find other things for them to do. And like, yeah, I mean, if a kid's like gone to, you know, if a kid has like already been like breaking the law a couple times and like getting in trouble with the law and all of that, then like, yeah, it makes sense. You know, I can see like showing people like this is what happens. But
I just don't see nothing wrong with making a kid walk. I mean, that's kind of
well, a lot of people felt that way.
That's just, you know, you got to, sometimes you have to have some kind of punishment. I'm actually more worried about parents that don't do anything than the ones that do something.
That's not good either. I would just be really, I mean, you know, what I would try and do with a kid like that is, you know, now it's also structured. Now they have like play dates or whatever. I would, with a kid like that, I would want to, you know, you're not gonna have them do stuff with other kids and supervised, and see if you can teach her to behave better, because people really don't. I mean, they don't know how. A lot of, you know, people don't know. People need to learn to express themselves and learn social skills, and yeah, so that is, but anyway, I pointed out, yeah, so when I was on Fox last time, I just pointed out that, you know, kids learn, they do what's been done to them, and yeah, that's what I would say. But yeah.
Well,
then somebody else on the phone, I would have made her walk 10 miles. I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not your kid.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of punishment, man, when these kids don't do it. I mean, these kids nowadays are shooting up schools and doing all kinds of stuff, man. I just can't see. I
don't think that human nature has changed that much. I mean, I think the problem with like school shootings is that, you know, I mean, I think that all the publicity, unfortunately, like does, you know, that now unfortunately we're getting copycat killings and all that. But Okay, the thing with school shootings, though, what to me, it's like it's not even about gun control because people are going to be like duking that out forever. But just a lot of the time, when with somebody violent, a whole lot of the time their families have known and their families have tried to get help and haven't been able to do it. And like with some of them have made threats online that weren't picked up on. Like one in the Florida one, the boy, a girl had been threatened by the boy that shot up, and so I just feel like prevention, trying to like catch these people before they do anything. I feel like that is that we have much more of a possibility of making a change by doing that because it's gonna it can be balled up politically forever. And and that we do sorry, one of the things that's brought up, which people are like, oh my god, my kid was like so scared by having this active shooting, we shouldn't have to have like active shooting drills in school, my kid was so scared. It's like, well, your kid is going to be a lot more scared if there's an active shooter. And it's like, hey, that's what we need to do. I would rather have some safety training than not have safety training. I'm not going to like wait around for laws to get passed or something. I feel like we need to do everything we can on our own. I'm a lot more aware of things than I used to be. I was like shopping somewhere and heard this noise and like jumped behind something, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this is the reality, and I'm just being we need to keep an eye, we need to learn to be more aware, and meanwhile we're not in Yemen or the Democratic Republic of Congo. So yeah. Okay, we're going to take a little break, guys.
All right.
Okay, we'll be right back.